for handcrafted, homemade toys or crocheted toys, cards, frames, visit www.facebook.com/madebymammy. Do graphics really matter that much? Well, they have carved the path for added realism and has opened many opportunities for game franchises. We will start off our journey with one of the first and probably the most recognisable first arcade/home system game, Pong. Pong is a game where you bounce a ball back and forth, and if you miss, the other person scores a point. This was a pixel pioneer. Pong's glory wouldn't last forever. New games had to be produced to bring in new customers and keep the existing ones there. But with more pixels came machines that could push more pixels. The best example of games would be Pong: The Space Invaders. It was also revolutionary. It included different coloured sprites that were controlled by the computer. By today's standards, this game is definitely not graphically demanding, but back then it was. And now we move on to some of the biggest ways to display the games. Raster. It displays images on a grid, but it can only fill out different pixels on that grid, line by line. Here is one good example of raster. The other main way to display images would be vector. Here is an example of vector. Vector is all straight lines instead, where raster is grid line by line, doing pixel by pixel. Vector is all lines. And here is a very quick comparison. As you can see, the vector is all smooth and straight, whereas the raster is all blocky. So you could say that all pixel art that you would do on a certain software would all be raster. And yeah, I would say that the 7th generation, so Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 and the Wii, had the greatest jump in graphical capabilities and qualities. For example, if you look at, I don't know, in older versions, an older, say, first-person shooter, so let's look at Call of Duty 1, and let's look at Far Cry. Far Cry 1 looked amazing for the time, and a lot of computers actually have troubles running it. Whereas you can run, say, I don't know, Crysis 2, and it would run Crysis 2 fine. Crysis 2 is a beautiful game, but they have issues running Far Cry. This is used with the Crytek engine in 2004, the 2004 Crytek engine, and this is what it made it look so nice. After that, some of the developers that helped develop Far Cry went off to develop Crysis because of arguments in the workplace, I guess. And Crysis came out, and their aim was just to smash Far Cry, to make it look better than Far Cry, to make it play better than Far Cry, to make the story better than Far Cry. And in my opinion, I think they succeeded. And there you go, that was a very brief history of graphics. Not as in-depth as any other person has done it at all. If you want any specific, properly in-depth, you're looking at probably about a 7-hour video going from 1980s to the current date. and back on task now. And so that's a brief history of graphics, really. We've gone from Pong, 3 things that can move, to having Far Cry Crisis, and now we're ending up where we're getting the stage where, say, Battlefield 1, that game was beautiful, and then games coming out like Destiny 2, which I haven't played, but I'm sure will look stunning just because of how advanced pretty much every other game is at this time. So what I want to say is, don't forget to like and subscribe.